we're coming back again for another edition of Feedback Live. We're going to talk about Best of E3 nominations, so you're not going to want to miss this one. Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Eckstein from G4TV.com, and with me again, I have Jessica Chobot. Joining us new is Jake Gaskill, our previews editor at G4TV.com.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good to be here. Hey, oh my God, it's Mike.
And our regular folks, Nicole Zavalich, Stephen Johnson.
Hi,
so great to
Internet.
have you guys. No. Please. We're very happy to have you.
That's not nice at all.
Get that guy out of here. Security. We're going to talk about E3 nominations. We'll be talking about winners as part of those nominations, as well as on the live show that's coming up at 3 p.m. later. 6 p.m. Eastern. So, for now, let's just jump into the nominations. Jessica, if you wouldn't mind, let's run through some of the nominees for Best Action Adventure.
Okay, Best Action Adventure. Here's who we've got: Assassin's Creed 3, God of War: Ascension, The Last of Us, Splinter Cell: Blacklist. All of those sounding very, very good.
That sounds Assassin's Creed 3. I know you're a huge fan of that game.
I'm from what I've seen of it, it's going to be the one that I think brings me back to the fold. I'm really looking forward to it. I think the Revolutionary War is definitely a section of history that has not been utilized much in video games. So I'm interested to see where they're going with the story in regards to that and this whole new world for Desmond. So to me, I'm very, very curious. In fact, I'm going to go play it right after feedback.
And God of War Ascension, Nicole, would you say that that's kind of on your top of your
absolutely.
radar?
I wish I had gotten to play the single player, but the multiplayer definitely is something new, and it's not a multiplayer experience that I've played before, and I was really great at it, and if anyone at Sony tells you otherwise, they're liars.
I don't believe you somehow.
I don't believe it.
I believe her. Steve.
Yes.
Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Yes.
You're a big Tom Clancy guy. I know you have all the books.
I have every single Tom Clancy book.
And you have Hawks and Hawks 2.
Yes.
Are you serious?
No.
I would actually believe
kidding?
that. I would actually believe that.
A very exciting first showing for Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Definitely. I mean, we're seeing a sprier Sam Fisher. We're seeing a lot of interesting mythology within the larger storyline of the Splinter Cell unit. It'll be interesting.
And it looked very done, which surprised me.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah,
totally
very
fit.
And
It
I
wasn't
also
just like
an
just
announcement either.
realized that I forgot to read one.
Hold on that one
But
just
I'm
for a
going to
moment.
hold on that
Yeah.
Why did you forget to read that
because
one?
of a certain reason.
Okay.
Well, we will get there. And Jake, real quickly, Last of Us.
The Last of Us, yeah, I know it's caused quite a bit of excitement here. It's its first showing, at Naughty Dog, obviously masters of storytelling, and this one's all about survival, and it's very gritty and it's real, and a lot of oh my God moments from the demo that they showed. So it's caused a lot of buzz, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, the one you neglected to mention,
Right.
only because
For good
it said,
reason, though.
6 letters beforehand, winner is the winner of the Best Action Adventure game is actually Resident Evil 6.
Oh.
Really good.
Thanks. I'm going to go to Capcom later and see if they'll want me on
Just
any
voice over
future
work.
DLC.
It's good.
But that game looks pretty tremendous. I mean, they're obviously taking it up a level to have a lot more action. I know, Steve, you followed the president around, or you killed the
Yeah,
president.
I killed the president.
Yep.
And then
Spoiler,
the demo,
oh my
I love
God.
the demo because the part of the demo that I played was where you're playing Leon and you kill the president and then you walk through hallways for a really long time and nothing happens, but it's all totally spooky and awesome.
Well, when you start
And
with
then it
killing the
ends.
zombie president, I mean,
Yeah,
where do you go from
you
there?
can't really go
I mean,
up
that's-
from
You go
that.
to
I mean,
hallways.
That's basically what you do.
Yeah.
I love it, and then you got to kind of tell the authorities, hey, listen, I just killed the president, but it's all right because he was a zombie, so
she
it's
jumps
cool.
in, she's like, no, he was a zombie before.
and they're like,
He's
oh,
fine.
okay, he was a
Don't
zombie.
worry.
All right, that's fine.
Well, what's
Yeah,
great
whatever.
is it does mix that classic Resident Evil gameplay, but also a lot more action, shooting humans and all sorts of other
Politicians
monsters
alike.
and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But I mean, you want to see what Resident Evil 6 looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment and show you Resident Evil. I can't make heads or tails what any of those enemies are, but I can't wait to blow them all up. I mean, this looks amazing. But let's move on to our next category, which is Best Multiplayer. Ooh. Jessica, maybe we can run down some of these hopefuls.
Yes, this one I won't screw up for you. All right, we've got Best Multiplayer, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Halo 4, Medal of Honor, Warfighter, Counter-Strike Go, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Defiance.
Ooh. I got to play some Medal of Honor Warfighter. I don't know if anybody else got a chance to. They're doing some really interesting things there. It's very much like a close quarters, fast-paced Battlefield 3 with the kill teams where I'd be allied with Nicole and we'd run around and do things together. And I can see where she is. If Steve kills Nicole, I can kill Steve, which I know
would
is going to
totally
make
do
Frank
that.
Which is
very
totally
happy.
going to happen, but in real life.
She comes back right away. So it seems like a really cool multiplayer experience. But I want to ask you, Jake, what do you think of Halo 4, and how do you think Halo 4 is shaping up?
I think they revealed a lot of details about Spartan Ops. I think that's the big kind of thing they're pushing for. It's co-op. It's be weekly kind of drops of content, which is great. It's just right there in your game. You can jump in anytime you want. I think having that kind of expanded universe into the co-op, into the multiplayer, is a great direction for that. I mean, you're all constantly feeding into a campaign that crosses all of those things. So anything to kind of make you feel like you're doing stuff, no matter where you are, is a great option.
And Jessica, I want to ask you, Defiance, Sci-Fi's MMO.
I've seen a lot of Defiance this week. Really interesting concept. They're also shooting a show in conjunction with the MMO. It's both being released at the same time. Gamers are supposedly able to influence what you will find on the show and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting approach. As far as I'm aware, that's the first time that this has ever been done. Both Tryon Studios is doing the MMO, and then Sci-Fi is where you'll be able to see everything. So. I'm really curious to see how that all works out, and if one actually does affect the other, and if such is the case, I think you have the potential of having something that's really awesome.
It is one of the first times we're seeing consoles being able to get pushed content to them in an MMO experience, so I think that could be pretty good. Let me ask you, Nicole, you a fan of Smash Brothers?
I am. I'm a big fan of
How would
Smash
you like it
Brothers.
with PlayStation characters?
Oh god, if only they could make a game with all Sony characters and it was exactly the same as
And a
Smash
Big Daddy.
Brothers. I know, right? Which is synergy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. No, I mean, I think that PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale it's a long name, first of all.
It's a mouthful.
I mess
Yep,
up
yep.
saying it all the time. But I mean, it looks great. And I think that if you're a Sony fan, this game is going to be, it's just fan service. That's who's going to love this game. And if you love Smash Brothers, it kind of looks like they're built off of that. So, they can't really mess that up, so.
And Steve,
Yes.
Counter-Strike, global
Counter-Strike.
terrorists. How do you think about that?
Listen, anytime I can kill terrorists, I'm good. No, anybody...
Terrorists,
like,
zombies, anything?
trying to update Counter-Strike, I mean, a game that people are still playing in such huge numbers, amazing. Amazing. Why,
Well, and we've neglected to talk about another one as part of this mix, but we're
I
going to talk
wonder
about it
why.
now.
Wait a minute, what?
We didn't neglect it, but we just kind of skipped over it because we laid it out first, so it's my neglection.
Okay.
Which is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is the winner of Best Multiplayer. Unfortunately, and this is where you're going to
The
really hate
winner.
us, we can't tell you any details about why we love it. We can tell you that we've played it, we can tell you that it's amazing.
Guns confirmed.
Yes, there will be guns and there will be shooting. But more than that, we're going to have
There's
to wait till a
something
later
so
date, unfortunately.
awesome about
But it's
it.
definitely something we're going to want to keep a close eye on, and you're going to want to see this game in action down the road. But we're going to move on to
I'm
our...
surprised by that, though. I mean,
Let's-
every Call of Duty has had such strong multiplayer that it can't surprise anybody that the next one's going to have amazing
Even better.
multiplayer.
It is the gold
Yeah.
standard
Yeah,
that
that
every
would
other
be-
multiplayer
I do want to say, though, that Halo
aspires
4's
towards.
Spartan Ops, the episodic DLC content, is really strong, and it was really close there for a while. But let's move on to Best RPG, because we got a fair amount of interesting contenders in that mix there.
Yeah. All right, we've got Best RPG, The Elder Scrolls Online, Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Skyrim Dawnguard, Infinity Blade Dungeons, and South Park and the Stick of Truth.
Let's start with South Park and the Stick of Truth. I mean, did that not look hilarious, or am I the only one that's
No,
crazy?
it's absolutely
hysterical.
hilarious. And the fact that, that art style is, for some reason, is able to translate so perfectly into the game. They absolutely nailed that. So it's like you're living in an episode of South Park, and it's super offensive and absolutely hilarious, class-based, and then they're doing stuff that like you'd see in the show, and you'd be like, oh, that's disgusting, but you're doing it, so it's like you're to blame, sort
Yeah.
of. But no, it's kind of impressive. So.
And I think on the other side, you're seeing what Epic's doing with Infinity Blade Dungeons. And I mean, I think there's some amazing... this is an iOS game. This is running on an iPad, and it looks really, really cool.
And that's kind of like the big deal is that this powerful of a game, this deep of a game, this immersive of a game is on a mobile device. And I think this is going to be, it's just kind of like a step in a direction where we're going to see a lot of games of that magnitude, on mobile devices. So I'm
Yeah, if it's
exciting.
possible to do once, people will do it 100 times. I mean,
Absolutely.
and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, once you know that it has the capability to provide that kind of experience, your iPad is going to become essentially another gaming device in a way, you know?
And they'll take those franchises. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Infinity Blade go beyond the iPad in the future.
Oh,
but,
interesting.
Steve, I want to ask you about Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online, you know, like we were talking about earlier, it is a question mark because, I mean, Elder Scrolls has such a fan base and such a distinct feel that translating that into a massive multiplayer experience where other strangers are in my game is... they're going to have to do really, it's going to be interesting to see how they try to do that. Because the first time I run into a character named Luke Skywalker 420, yay, I'm going to be like, see, now you ruined my Skyrim. So.
And you revealed Jake's name.
Thank you.
I mean, come on.
Spam. Damn.
I think it's safe to say, though, that we're all looking forward to more Skyrim content. So we're just going to call it right here. The best RPG is actually Skyrim's DLC, Dawnguard,
Yes.
which just looks fantastic.
I just can't wait.
I mean, you need to see some of kind of what we're talking about to really get excited about this. So take a look at Skyrim Dawnguard.
Yeah.
New recruits. Isran will decide if you've got what it takes. Go on.
My lord, everyone! Serana has returned.
I mean, clearly, I need to finally finish Skyrim. I mean, this is
so
just
awesome.
right.
I mean,
so
my
amazing.
God.
Is
I
80
cannot
hours
wait.
not enough?
I
I mean,
can't.
come on. There goes my life again. So,
I'm
Werewolves
voluntarily
and
giving
flying
vampires.
around with
I mean,
wings?
I can't even. I
mean,
can't.
I mean, every day, but
I was just happy about the horse.
I'm trying to.
I know!
I mean, dude.
All right.
Had like what, like a blue fire mane or something.
I mean, dude.
I know,
Dude.
right?
They found the
Clearly,
commercial.
Steve's a big fan. So
Skyrim.
we're going to
Steve,
talk
what do you
about Best
feel?
Shooter now. We're going to go through the nominees of Best Shooter because
I would
there's a
love to.
dozen or more shooters at the show, and we were really excited about a lot of them, but only a few made the cut for the top echelon. Let's run through those.
All right, here are the special ones. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, Halo 4, Metro Last Light, and Borderlands 2.
I'm going to go to the Metro first because that's a personal favorite. I love the Metro games, and I know, Jake, you're a big fan of creeping around in sewers with gas masks on, so...
Yeah, especially
And also the Metro
especially in
series.
fictional universes.
Yeah.
But Last Light's obviously very impressive. Their technology is almost like impossible. Like you see the game in action and you can't believe that it's sort of running on this generation. But it's they're doing a lot of ambitious things this time, a lot of open environments, but they still kind of nailed that super creepy, intense moment-to-moment action. You're stalking through, got your gas mask on, it's kind of bugs are crawling all over it, you're lighting cobwebs on fire, and things are happening all over the place. So it's absolutely terrifying. They've obviously improved the combat quite a bit. Now it's a very competent shooter. That was a big complaint for the first one. Where now it's a very solid shooter as well as this sort of atmospheric terror fest. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
And Jessica, Borderlands 2. Are you a fan? Did you want to tackle Randy when he walks past?
Let me preface this first by saying I am not the world's biggest shooter fan across the board. That being said, I did play a little bit of Borderlands. I had dropped it because something else came that I wanted to play more, and so I did. But then Blair and a friend of ours, Blaine, and a bunch of other people that I know really are massive, massive fans. And from what I have seen of Borderlands 2, I'm thinking maybe I should give it another shot. And oddly enough, I'm actually also very curious about Far Cry 3, mostly for the boobies and the tigers.
Wow.
But still,
Ubisoft
Cry
knows
3.
how to sell
Are
a
they
game.
Huh?
They know how to promote a game.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was
That's
quite
how
an
you do it.
introduction to that one, right?
Boobies and tigers,
Quite
man.
the
Every 9-year-old
introduction.
boy in America just went, what?
Yeah, so you know, but yeah, I like honestly, I'll probably give a Borderlands 2 another shot.
And speaking of threes, Crisis 3.
Crisis 3.
Looks pretty bad, right?
I-
Badass, I mean.
I was like, no, Eric, it actually looks pretty good. I mean, what can you say about Crisis? I mean, like the series has always carved out its own niche within the shooter world, and I'm sure this is going to continue along in that awesome high-tech kind of feel that those Crisis games always have. And the fact that it's taking place in such an interesting setting, a jungle in the middle of New York City, is amazing. Like, the possibilities are...
And that it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
That's,
oh
another
my
one,
God,
that's
yeah.
another one that you see in action, and you're like, you
Yeah,
can't
how can this
that's
exist?
running
Yeah, exactly.
On a $500,000
Well, and then
computer.
you also get the Ceph weapons now, and not so really a shooter, but you have the bow again. So I mean,
The bow is the hot weapon of
It is.
2012 and 2013.
I called it. I called it, guys.
I don't know if there's
Just
a bow
that.
in Halo 4 yet, but I mean, Halo 4 also is another game that's just looks so beautiful when they were running through that demo.
It could use a compound bow.
It could use all sorts of bows,
Every-
I bet you
crossbows,
there's a
compound
bow at
bows,
some
long
point.
bows, short bows. But Halo 4, is that something that you're looking to get in, play some war games, some Spartan Ops, some single player?
There's no way that they can mess that up. And like everything they keep showing, it looks great. And I just have nothing but confidence that game's going to be amazing.
I just hope it
it's so
keeps that-
formulaic and amazing. Like you just, what are you going to do?
I hope it keeps that Halo feel. You know, like all the Halo games have a certain feel that's different than everything that has ever been done, and I'm pulling for it to contain that energy. You know,
So far from what we've seen from the press conference, I mean, it definitely
Yeah.
does look like they're exploring new territory, and there's definitely some interesting new enemies that we'll meet. But really, let's talk about the winner. And Jessica nailed it. It's Far Cry 3. I mean, that game looks fantastic. It plays like very differently than most of the other shooters out there, but you got to see it to really understand what's going on here. So take a look at Far Cry 3.
The thing is, I'm not crazy, but you are. Come on, motherfucker. Pull the trigger!
I'll pay 10 grand to the first motherfucker that gets the kitchen for this little set.
Us! Where are you? Come out and face me!
You are so fucked, Jason. Come on. Pull the trigger. Come on, motherfucker.
That looks insane. Haha, I got what I did there. I'm sorry. But really, let's talk about
Oh my
platformers
god,
now.
I did just get what you said.
Oh, okay, good.
Perfection,
I don't know what
everybody.
Oh man, I know. But let's talk about the best platformers because we've seen some new platformers out there and ones that are really kind of catching our eye. What do we got?
All right, we've got Rayman Legends, Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, New Super Mario Brothers U, and Guacamelee.
Guacamelee. Jake, you saw Guacamelee.
Yes, I did. It's a very kooky indie. It's like a side-scroller beat 'em up, where you can basically play as a chicken. Also, in addition to being a Mexican wrestler. Naturally, obviously the two go together quite well. No, it's, the art style is instantly engaging, and it's kooky and it's weird. If you couldn't guess by the Mexican wrestler and the chicken, and you kind of switch between these two universes, and you're solving puzzles, and it's just a big, fun, colorful, amazingly animated kind of fun game. So.
And then Jessica, Rayman. You're a fan of Rayman Origins, so.
Yeah, I enjoyed Rayman Origins quite a bit. I find that whole world to be pretty adorable, to be completely honest, and really fun to play. And so for me, Rayman Legends is just more of that awesomeness, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a solid platformer.
And it's interesting what they're doing with, especially with the Wii U elements.
I am
you know.
very, very curious about that, and I think that that's going to add a whole new dimension to the gameplay. So I think that is a great way to go.
And speaking of Wii U, New Super Mario Brothers U, not Wii U.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the return of Mario?
It looks like the last Mario game, which is cool. I mean, because what are you going to do? It's a platforming Mario game. There's only so much innovation you can bring to it.
Seems
People
like
don't
anytime
want it
there's
to
a
be too
Super
different.
Mario Bros., it's gonna play like the old Super Mario Bros.
and-
You don't
and-
want it to play completely different.
I don't want it to, like, when I play a Super Mario game, I want it to have different levels, but be basically Super Mario, and that's what I want.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
mind had they made something a little bit different, a little bit innovative.
There were new suits!
There's a U at the end.
Oh, you're right. All right, I
More do you
take it all
want?
back. Raccoon Tails are back.
But do you mean you want more Mario 64, or you want?
I mean that. Yes, that's my favorite, and so if they kind of went in that direction, great. But I just something different. I feel like this is exactly what I expected.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I like what I expected.
Speaking of something that I didn't expect, though, Disney Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two. I mean, we kind of have heard they're doing voices. It's a musical. It's on the current generation systems. But when you see it in
Better
action,
camera.
it's pretty wild. Well, they're still working on that, but it really does look like a really solid game. I mean, hearing the voices of all the characters, hearing Oswald for the first time. Disney fans, I feel, are going to go bananas because there's so many deep cuts, there's so many interesting kind of bits of trivia, and Warren Spector's a nut for that stuff. I mean, he is putting all sorts of Easter eggs throughout the entire game. And that happens to be our winner for Best Platformer, is Disney Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two. You should see this animated cartoon classic come to life right before your very eyes. Like. Wow, I mean, I like shooting people in the face, but that game looks just
Adorable.
amazing.
I wonder if Oswald ever gets jealous that Mickey has been so much more successful than he has.
I'm sure he does.
Clearly, he's going to be very
Like,
jealous.
I'm going to help you because I have to, but I kind of want to just dump you into this lava pit.
He's Disney's Luigi.
Oh, that's very
Wow,
sad.
really?
Luigi
I
has
thought
2 games coming this year. Thank you very much.
I know, yeah, that's true.
So we're gonna go back to Tony in the Cybertron 642 social area because he's got some questions from the fans that they're just dying to know.
Hey, I've got 2 questions. One of them's Nintendo related because he says that we're not talking about Nintendo enough, so I'm going to give him a chance. He wants to know, his name is Tedward. He wants to know, what are your impressions on the Wii U this year?
Oh, impressions of the Wii U.
So happy.
Starts.
Nicole, you start.
Okay, so overall, I was pretty disappointed with what they offered us. Last year, they teased us with the Wii U, and they said that it would be out this year, which I am going to say that I don't think it will be. They didn't do a release date, they didn't do a price, they didn't really do specs. I don't think it's 2012. Last year, they showed off how this console would change everything, and they showed off Zelda with it, and there was no Zelda this year. Nothing about Zelda, and I'm really kind of upset about it. So, guys?
Steve, I feel like you're not on the same page with Nicole.
I am not. Although I agree with everything Nicole said, I played Zombie U, and I am telling you, within 2 minutes of starting it up, I understood the Wii U immediately. I was like, okay, this is awesome. That's all they needed was that one killer app to really show why you're going to like it. And after having played that, it's so great for survival horror games. I can't
What
even
does the
believe
Wii
it.
U do for that
Well,
game?
the Wii U screen acts as like a scanner, so you can scan the environment for things. So you're looking through it and looking into the TV. It also acts as like an aiming system, but most of all, it acts as your backpack. So you're basically looking into your inventory while something's coming towards you and trying to switch out weapons and things like that. And it's terrifying and awesome.
While eating Cheetos and
Exactly,
drinking Mountain
exactly
Dew
right.
and texting on your phone and doing whatever else you're
But
doing.
seriously, Zombie U is really, really cool if you're a survival horror fan.
See, I'm gonna go a little bit more towards the Steve side of things in the sense that while I do think that Microsoft took a big chunk out of maybe the pomp and circumstance of the Wii U that we've got with Smart Glass, I do, however, think that Nintendo did do a good job this year of really having some quality games they're promising for this particular, console. And that was always my main complaint with the Wii, was that there wasn't really anything that I wanted to play that was offered, with the exception of one here or there, like a Zelda or whatnot. I do agree that I'm really disappointed that Zelda wasn't shown because I had seen that, but, I did do a couple hands-on with the Wii U a while back. think at CES this past year, and they were blatant and completely honest in saying that they weren't really planning on it being anything in regards to a game, that it was just an experience, and that's what we had been seeing up to that point, which is a shame because I thought it looked amazing. But that being said, I do think that their titles that they've promised us going forward with this, for Nintendo fans, I think they're going to end up being very, very happy.
And Jake, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, seeing the games in action, you get behind the horsepower of it. Seeing Batman Arkham City, seeing Assassin's Creed 3 running on it, it looks exactly like you would expect on a 360 or PS3. So that's certainly impressive. For me, the hardware is still the biggest barrier.
Where's the
mainly
box?
because the thumbstick above the buttons on the right side is just awkward, especially when you're playing a game like Ninja Gaiden, which is like super fast, and the right thumbstick is the camera. And then the buttons, you're constantly hitting it, and it's just there's something about that that's a little awkward to me. I agree, the potential for having it be like a side screen, kind of your inventory and that kind of thing is interesting. I don't know about the putting a screen up in front of another screen.
Yeah, I think it's probably one screen too many.
Put my iPhone with a smart glass in front of that, and then another one, and then another one.
How many screens?
Surround yourself with screens, and then everything's going to be okay. So we're going to go back to Tony because he's got another question for us that's been burning in his brain. So let's go to social time.
Social time. I've got a question from Jonathan Wrightsell. He says, if you could go home with one game from E3 right now, what would it be?
Oh, I want to start this one. I would go home with XCOM, Enemy Defense. Or Enemy Unknown, sorry. Whoops, that's the previous original game. I just love this game. It looks beautiful. It's a turn-based strategy game, which is going to turn off so many people, but it's so amazing. It's deep. It's fun. You have characters that go on, that live on or die based on your decisions. It's really my top favorite game of the show. But what do you think, Nicole?
I think I'd probably choose Star Wars 1313.
That's 5 seconds of gameplay that we saw?
But that's the thing. I don't think that's actual gameplay. So then I'm going to take back my answer after I put it out there and say Lego Lord of the Rings, because that just sounds like the perfect game to play all weekend and decompress from this week. It just sounds perfect right now. And it looks really good and cute.
Sure.
Sorry.
Steve?
I say The Last Guardian.
Oh,
wait,
Too
no.
soon. Too
Not
soon.
The Last
You
Guardian.
have to go there, Steve.
I'm sorry. Assassin's Creed 3 is my actual answer.
Why?
Because everything I've seen looks so amazing, and that setting is just close to my heart. The colonial period in American history as a video game is such a brilliant idea that I just need to play it right now.
If
So
Blair
I'm
was
gonna go
here, he
steal
would
it.
make a comment about you being from colonial times.
I thought
and
the
wanting to see
bullying.
your
Thank you for filling that
family.
void. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought
Somebody
that
needs
the
to do it.
cyberbullying was going to end when Blair left, but now I'm being
I feel like I should
cyberbullied
pick
by
up the
Nicole.
Jessica, what about you? What would you take home?
Oh my god, even though it's really, 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 really early of what we saw, but Watch Dogs, holy
God.
crap, that
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I am really incredibly stoked about it, if you couldn't tell. I just thought that the whole thing with the scanning and, the data and the data structure and how you just kind of steal everybody's privacy away
You like
from them. It's
cyber
just-
stalking is in your...
well,
okay.
and it speaks
Good.
so much to the future that we are, as real life people, kind of coming up against with all this privacy issues. And so to me, it's such a genius way of tying those two things together and having you be able to actually kind of play through this potential future of ours. I just think it's really, really cool. Plus, there was a lot of guns and explosions and blood, and so that also did not suck.
And Jake, what do you got for us?
For me, it's a toss-up between The Last of Us and...
Now you're cheating.
And Dishonored.
No,
I'm sorry.
I mean, come on.
You gotta pick one.
It's one of those...
You gotta
probably
pick one and
Dishonored.
one has to die.
I played Dishonored for about 45 minutes. I don't think I blinked the entire time. They had to pry the controller out of my hands when it was over. I've been looking forward to that game forever. To live in that world, I could not be more excited about. So I might go steal it now, actually, because it was in pretty
Bethesda's
good,
right
it was in
back
pretty
there.
good shape. So I might be doing that later.
Do you have a hidden pocket watch over there or something?
I'm gonna flash in there. I'm gonna
You're
just
like, I
flash
have
in, grab it, and just
stovepipe
flash out.
Well, we'll all bum rush Bethesda right after this, but really stay tuned for 6 p.m. Eastern on a live television G4 so you can see more nominations and more awards, including Best of Show, Best 360 Game, and more. So biggest surprise is a real one that's just going to catch you off guard. So I wanted to thank everybody and thank Morgan and Blair and all our guests that came out earlier today. But we did it. We did Feedback Live and we lived. Woo! Thank you, everybody. Woo!